Hello everyone and welcome to another standard video. So we're back to standard and we're gonna try out a deck that I've been meaning to try, which is the Jund midrange. Although it's a midrange deck, the deck kinda has some reanimation sprinkled onto it. And since I'm a fan of reanimation myself, so we're gonna be checking out this card here called the Cruelty Objects from Dominaria United. I'll talk more about this card later in the video. So without further ado, let's take a closer look at the deck to see how the deck looks like. So this is the deck I'm going to be playing today. And you might be thinking, wow, this deck has a lot of 1-ups. And there's actually a reason for that, and let me explain why. So currently, the standard meta has become infested with mono black at the moment, which happens to feature a lot of Liliana, which means they're going to be playing 4 copies of Tenacious Underdog, so that when they plus with the Liliana, they can trash the extra Tenacious Underdog into the graveyard. So to kind of combat against Liliana, we are playing a copy of Tenacious Underdog ourselves, and we are also playing a copy of Squee. Tenacious Underdog has haste, so it can kill Liliana if the board's clean. But if they have a blocker, you can play something like Squee, so you can get through one of their blocker, so you can kill the Liliana that way. And Unlicensed Hers is another singular card that we're going to be playing. And that's also because a lot of decks currently at the moment are playing Squee or playing Tenacious Underdog. So having something like Unlicensed Hers isn't going to be the worst. But you might be asking, like, why aren't you playing Graveyard Trespasser? So Graveyard Trespasser also works in the current format pretty well as well. So you can play Graveyard Trespasser if you wanted to. That's fine. But the reason I'm playing Unlicensed Hers is because of the fact that it's an instant speed graveyard hate. So which means that, let's say if opponent is also on the reanimation plan and they're also playing Cruelty Objects, then you're going to be able to exile those cards before they get reanimated. And even against mono red, right? They also play cards off the graveyard as well. They have the Phoenix Trick. They also have Bloodthirsty Adversary to flash back something like a Lightning Strike as well. So being able to exile something from the graveyard at an instant speed is going to be pretty valuable. So that's the reason why I chose to have Unlicensed Hers over Graveyard Trespasser. And the last 1-of card that we're going to be playing is Corpse Explosion. And Corpse Explosion is going to be just a flexible board wipe spell for the deck because we're going to be playing a lot of cards that discard, such as Liliana and Fable of the Mirror Breaker, so that we can have creatures in the bin so that we can reanimate them later. But basically, we can use those creatures in the graveyard using the Corpse Explosion, use the power of the creature as the board wipe so that we can get rid of all the cards on the board, and that includes Planeswalkers. So against mono black, they're gonna have a bunch of Lilianas, and they might also have Sorin as well. And against an Orjob, for instance, they're gonna be playing Wandering Emperors as well. So yeah, there's a lot of Planeswalkers currently in the metagame. But we're just going to be playing a single copy of because we do want to have targets in the graveyard at all times so that we can eventually reanimate something. And sometimes you might not even have creatures in the graveyard. So having more Corpse Explosion might be completely dead in your hand. So hence the reason for just a singular copy. So hopefully that clears up your suspicion of the deck. And with that said, finally, we get to talk about our Reanimator, Cruelty Objects. So this is a 5-mana enchantment, which has Read Ahead. This is a new mechanic with the set that lets you basically skip any chapters you don't want to trigger. So if I want to reanimate, for instance, I can just skip all the way to chapter 3. Or if I want to look for a card to kill my opponent, like for example, if I'm playing against a mono red, I really need board wipe next turn. I skip the chapter 2 immediately so I can get something like Elder Dragon War or Mihawk Massacre, for instance, or even Corpse Explosion. That works too. So this read ahead mechanic just makes the card quite broken because 5 mana is about the cost of reanimating at the moment besides the cruelty. Considering that, it actually has a lot more to it. In chapter 1, you can discard a creature or planeswalker from your opponent's hand, and you get to also look at their hand for information as well. So you got that information, and in chapter 2, you search an answer to your opponent's hand or the battlefield, and then you get to reanimate even something that you chose from opponent's hand, because the reanimation can be from any graveyard. And the card that we're going to be reanimating in this deck is the Titan of Industry. So if it does come down, well, opponent's probably gonna surrender at that point. And most of the times when this does come down, you're going to be making a 4/4 creature token, and you're going to be putting a shield counter on the Titan itself. But if opponent does have something like Mihawk Massacre on the board, or even Kiki-Jiki on the board, Kiki-Jiki is an enchantment creature, so you can use the ability to destroy something like Kiki-Jiki off the battlefield. So very flexible card, and the fact that it has a 7/7 reach trample comes down, opponent's just going to surrender if you're playing something like an aggro deck, especially if you did also gain 5 life from the Titan itself. But before Titan of Industry can be reanimated, you do need some ways of discarding Titan of Industry from your hand to the graveyard. And we have 3 ways of doing that. 1 being Fable of the Mirrorbreaker, Chapter 2 being able to discard 2 cards, and the second one is the Liliana. If you play the Liliana, you plus it, you discard the Titan because the cost is too heavy, you're probably never going to be able to play it until way later on into the game. So you discard Titan, and then you can Cruelty of Gigs to reanimate the Titan a little bit earlier on. And the third way you do it is from Teachings of the Kirin. And the first chapter goes off being able to mill some cards into the graveyard from the deck. But I wouldn't rely on the Teachings of the Kirin too much for that purpose. But speaking of Teachings of Kirin, the card might not be the most ideal card, but at the same time, it has a lot of synergy in the deck. So this card is interesting. Not only does it mill 3 cards, it creates a spirit token. Then the spirit token that you create becomes a 2/2. I would say the chapter 2 is probably the weakest, but once the 3rd chapter hits, it transforms into this creature. Every time you attack, you can exile target creature card from the graveyard to make a 1/1 token. Or if you exile a non-creature card, you can put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. So it's another form of a graveyard hate in the deck. But the real reason why we're actually playing this card is because of the fact that it mills 3 cards. And that includes creatures, which is good because we want creatures in the graveyard because we want to reanimate. But we are also playing a card called Soul of Windgrace that can put a land from the graveyard to the battlefield. Putting a land into the graveyard by milling 3 cards can also be beneficial for our deck. And speaking of which, this is actually the last card that we're going to be talking about in our deck. Probably the most important card, actually, is Soul of Windgrace. This is a 4-mana 5/4 legendary creature. We only have 3 copies of it just because it's a legendary. I don't like to play 4 copies of legendaries most of the times, but I can definitely see the deck playing 4 copies of Soul of Windgrace. That's how important I think this card is for the deck. So when this comes into the battlefield or attacks, you may put a land card from the graveyard onto the battlefield tapped under your control. And in our deck, we're going to be able to trigger this almost guaranteed. Just because we have Teachings of Kirin, Liliana the Veil, Fable of the Mirrorbreaker being able to put cards into the graveyard. So when you do play this, we're going to be able to ramp. But what makes this ability so good and consistent is actually because of this land called Riveteer's Overlook. Now, this card isn't the greatest, but it's actually broken in this deck because of this card. So when this card comes into the battlefield, fetch a basic swamp, mountain, or a forest card, and you gain 1 life. Later in the turns, you play Soul of Windgrace, and then you get to do it again because you just sacrifice Riveteer's Overlook for a basic land. So not only did you deck thin and you ramped at the same time, but you gained 2 life over the course of 2 turns. And that's also the reason why we're playing 6 copies of basics in the deck. And once you untap with this card, that's when the fun begins, right? Soul of Windgrace has extra abilities. If you pay green, you get to discard a land and you gain 3 life. If you pay 2 mana, 1 red, discard a land, and you draw a card. But if you pay 3, black this time, discard a land, the Soul of Windgrace gains indestructible until the end of the turn, and you tap it. So I think this card is just absolutely nuts in this deck. because it does ramp us, which is pretty important because we do play a 7 mana card. So not only is it a Reanimator deck, but it's actually going to be very doable for your deck to actually play those top-end 7 mana cards in your deck consistently because of this card. But that's all I have to say about the deck. I'm going to be jumping into some standard best of 1 ranked to show you guys how the deck does. And if you guys like the video so far, leave a like, comment below, and subscribe if you still haven't. We're almost at the 1000 mark, so that would be much appreciated. And let's hop on over. Nice. Well, actually, I believe. Black source, let's go. Black. Hello, any blacks? Any black lands? Okay, Fable was actually really good. What a good draw. Okay, Brutal Cathar, good draw. Discard the Titan. I might actually discard double Titan here. Say what? Not getting a land there was kinda huge. 26 land, by the way. Foreign. Liliana. Let's get rid of another Titan. Yeah. Dude. Are you serious right now? I don't know what to say. That is so crazy. I think we do need to just play this out to get a land. Like, how is there no land? That is insane. This is gonna be so juicy though. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. That just happened. That was so good. I kind of just want to keep all these. Yeah, I just want to keep all of those. I mean, mean, this game is probably over. Yeah, I mean, we just reanimate Titan. Call it a day, right? Shield counter? Yeah, like, it just comes down, the game is over, right? Yeah, this hand looks much better. Something like that. Okay. I think I fetch black. And we use Yatora and then leave up cut down. Ooh, opponent missed a creature on turn 2. That's very, very helpful. Kill Reckless Stormseeker. Man, cutdown's so good. Cutdown is very, very good. Here's to hoping they don't have another Kumano or another haste creature.
Sacrifices must be made.
I doubt it. Highly, highly. Liliana like bought me a turn, so that's good. They might go face here, which is good for me. Because this is dealing, yeah, this is dealing 4 damage. I can't play Fable this turn. I have to play a land. Which means I'm probably gonna be playing Teachings of Kirin and Hold Up Infernal Grasp. Which means I might have to get rid of Fable here. Right. Okay. Okay, that's a good mill. We need a land. Another Thundering Raiju. Have the block. Play with fire, that's fine. Opponent has no cards anymore. Is there any like white protection spell? I hope not. I hope not. Dude, my god. Look at... I didn't even mill a land. Like, where's my land? Thank god we drew Soul of Grace. I think we just win from here. I think they can't keep up with this card. Every turn, we're gonna be gaining 1 life because of this card. Here's another reason why this card is broken in our deck. Because for whatever reason, This doesn't get exiled, so it just keeps coming back. So good. So I'm playing the Squee post-combat because it doesn't really matter. I'm just going to be using it as a blocker. And even if I attack with it, it'll just get chump blocked, the token. This might be a little bit ambitious, considering this comes in tapped as well. If I lose, it's because I kept this hand. Okay, so we just drew 2 non-lands together, so chances are there's lands on top, so we don't want to mill. I mean, I gambled. Didn't pay off. The Esper. Well, opponent, what is your move? So I think if I don't get a land next turn, I think I'm going to concede. Okay, we got rid of our land. Oh my god. I mean, of course, as I say that, the first card that I was about to draw is a land. Nice. So we get to kill Soren, which is nice. That was really nice. Is there any land in the graveyard? We do, so if we get a land, this comes online. Okay, I mean, the tap land doesn't help. I should have probably specified that I needed an untapped land. Okay. So I suspect the Mihawk Massacre is coming. Wait, what? Really? You were really afraid of this card? Wow. I can't believe it. The Soul of Windgrace or... Okay, Wandering Emperor.
Finally, I'm home.
Really sad that they had to do it on a token. Play around a counter spell that taxes 2. Okay, we'll do that. Actually, I don't know. Like, would they play that? The 2-mana counter spell with casualty? That's why they did it, because because of Memory Deluge. Okay, makes sense now. Makes sense now. Kaito.
I could sneak right by, but I'm itching to fight. Bet you can't catch us.
That is so greedy.
Remember your training.
That is actually so greedy. I can Tenacious Underdog as well. Cash it in now. So attack... Well, actually attack like this. Then attack here. I made a mistake. I needed to play a land first. But that's... It's okay, it's okay.
Still have much to learn.
We missed out on a land, but... Shouldn't be the biggest deal. I'm gonna save mana. For Soul of Windgrace. Infernal Grasp, huh? Okay.
I know something you don't know.
We wanted to kill the token there because it has unblockable, so they can attack and then they just plus with the Kaito to get a free draw instead of a looting. Another Wandering Emperor.
I hope you're ready to lose.
Is this like really necessary? Like, why didn't you just do it on...
You're done.
Like, what?
Nobody knows Dominaria's shadows like me.
I don't like this play. Because...
Haven't you ever heard of personal space?
Now they lost Wandering Emperor and Kaito. Because I don't really care about Liliana, per se.
I guess that's it then.
gonna keep the land for Liliana. Cruelty. That's a card. Of course you have another Wandering Emperor. Why
Anyone
wouldn't
who
you?
harms my people must contend with me. You are not much of a roadblock.
Other Liliana. And sacrifice
No more
that?
distractions. Let's make this quick.
But that's fine.
Off you go.
So 4 and 3. Okay, Wandering Emperor gone again.
Our swords will cross that.
Play another Kikijiki. Play the Riveteer. Gain some life. Deck thin. Draw a card. Man, this tenacious underdog is doing so much work. Like, oh my god. Oh my god. That is a mulligan. That is unfortunately a keep. A black. Duress. Probably... yeah. Evolved Sleeper. So they can pay 1 to make this a 2/2. So we can't Mihawk Massacre. But sooner or later it's just going to get killed by Terra Sunder. This card is just... I feel like this card's the nuts. Like there's so many enchantment creatures right now, right? And what is the most popular card right now? It's it is Kikijiki, so... yeah, well, let's just kill it because opponent didn't do anything last turn, so... okay, we're kind of a landlord. That's very, very unfortunate. We should have also grabbed a forest there. I don't know what I'm doing. Six mana. Still not enough to kill it. Interesting. I don't think they needed to cut down there. I'm actually gonna just lose to Sheoldred.
distractions. Let's make this quick. You won't be outsmarted.
I am actually just going to lose to Sheoldred. So I can't cast Mihawk Massacre anymore, so... Okay, that's my bad. I should have definitely Terra Sunder first. And my only green source is a Pain Land. The Pain. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. Oh my god. Oh my god. Okay. I think this is a mulligan to me. Even though we see 3 lands. I don't know, would you actually? I am going I am going first. That means Fable of the Mirror Breaker does come out a little bit early. Maybe that's like a reason to do it. I'm gonna fetch a red since we don't have a red. Maybe Hug Massacre. What a card. Meat Hook Massacre, what a card. A soldier deck. Is it a soldier deck or a human deck? I think I'm going to Fable here. Obviously, I could have played a Liliana and then make them sacrifice their Guardian of the New Benalia, but they're gonna get the Kumano and they're just gonna be able to kill my Liliana, so... But the plan is, we ramp with the Soul of Windgrace, we attack with the Goblin Shaman, play this card, get the land back, and then we ramp into Mihawk Massacre. So that's a plan. That is if we can actually survive. Can we survive? Yeah, that card is really good, huh? Wow, yeah, that card is very, very good. Okay, we're taking a bit of damage. Land? Oh my god, the land was actually just game-winning, actually. Okay, I do believe we are gonna be able to win this game. Because of the land draw. Okay, we were gonna get another land anyways. So we attack with the 2/2. We play the land. And we Meathook Massacre for 3. Because Meathook Massacre. And then gain all the life back because Meathook Massacre is broken. I don't know, like, I'm on the boat where, like, okay. We kind of need, black kind of needs a board wipe. But Meathook Massacre just seems just like, it's just too powerful at times. I could soul, but I think Liliana is actually pretty powerful here.
No more distractions. Let's make this cloud. One of your friends has to leave.
I'm actually down to block with the Kiki Jiki just to save Liliana. What happened to the sound? The sound gets muffled if you do this. Wow.
I'll be back with friends.
Soul of Windgrace. Let's go. Man, this overlook, this Riveteer's overlook is so insane. Did I tap it wrong? Well, we do need 7th land anyways. For our Titan, if we do get it. What is our opponent thinking? Okay, they play a land. They got 1 card. Okay, so the nighttime trigger is gonna happen. And we're gonna play the Fable. We're actually gonna keep this land. We could also use this to draw a card here, but I think we just stay, right? We just stay, give it indestructible by discarding a land, and then block this. I think we should have this. But yeah, going back to Meathook Massacre, I think this card is kind of toxic for standard. Like, is it just me? Like, I feel like the standard would be much better without Meathook Massacre. Like, a mid-range or a control deck should not be able to board wipe and then gain all the life back. I don't know. There's something about that just kind of irks me the wrong way. It's like very, very similar to Uro, right? Like, you're ramping, but ramping should have a cost, but because Uro gains life back, when you're ramping, it just... The card was crazy. There's also the fact that he comes back as a 6/6, but... Interesting. I mean, like, I could keep the land so that I have a land for solo Windgrace, or... I mean, let's just... Okay, yeah, let's just ditch it. Okay, worked out.
Something
Boom.
suspicious is going on. Haven't you ever heard of personal space?
Deck thinning, by the way. And we'll just play this as a 4/4. And I do believe that is a wrap. Man, this deck is so strong. All right. Discard a land and draw a card. Cycle... I mean, I guess... This only costs 2, so I should just keep doing that. Okay. So we can plus. But... I do believe my opponent is kind of dead. 4 damage for sure. They have to block. Yeah. Yeah.